Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel, Santa Blue. Welcome. Hi, today we are going to talk about office visit. It's kind of like a public announcement. So if you're new to this channel, please subscribe, like, comment, and hit that bell notification so you could be notified whenever I upload a video. So again, like I said today, it's kind of like I say it's a public announcement, not a public announcement per se, but it's just a little thing I want to go over because as y'all know, I'm a nurse at a pediatrician office, and I come like to realize like a lot of times a lot of stuff that people seems to overlook or don't take into consideration. So I figure I just do a little thing for y'all. So this when I work in the med room, which I give vaccine. In our office, we are privileged. I would say it's a privilege that we have a vaccine room or a med room where the kids could come in and get vaccine. And I like this setup because not only it have where the parents them have to hold the kids them, but also like you are comforting your child while holding your child and basically trying to keep that child safe and comfort is the biggest thing for us. So our office that I know is like the only office here that does it. A lot of places like the nurses them that work with the doctor, they'll do the vaccine in the room, but we do it separately. Like they'll see the doctor and then they have to come over to the med room to give it. And it's good a lot because a lot of time we catch a lot of stuff that happens. So it works out for us. It's a win-win situation all over the way. But the one thing is that I notice is like a lot of times. So I'm gonna do the speech that I always, when I used to be on the floor, the speech that I used to give to parents when they come in for the newborn visit. So one thing I would like to say is whenever you have the child and before y'all discharge, they give y'all envelope, and they said this envelope is for your pediatrician. Parents, it is important that you bring that envelope for your pediatrician. Don't open it, don't go through it, just bring it exactly how they give it to you to the pediatrician. There's a lot of vital information that is on that paper that we need. They have the birth weight, the head circumference, if the child was vaccinated or not, if the child had a hearing test and was the test passed. A lot of times, sometimes we're lucky and you might be the pediatrician may be affiliated. I'm sorry. Sometimes the pediatrician may be affiliated with the hospital that you had the kid, and so we could probably get access to it. And sometimes we don't have that affiliation, and so now we have to sign a release and try to get that information, and we don't get it and majority of the time we don't get it that same day. It might take a couple of days for us to get that information, and when we need that information when you're in the office, it's kind of like, please bring that envelope with you. It is really important. Put it in the baby bag because that's the bag you got to bring with you anyway, but it's really important that you bring that envelope with you. The next thing I like to tell parents is, and you have to check this out where you are. This may not be, but because like I said, I'm learning myself because I didn't know all of these things, and I came to find out little by little certain stuff. So say you have no insurance for some reason and you can't make the doctor's appointment, but your child needs to be vaccinated. Call the health department, see if they could help you out. Try not to leave this child unvaccinated for a long time, and then when they do show up to the doctor's appointment, they're getting like a ton load of vaccine. And then you're looking at me, the mean nurse, to say, you're giving my child all this vaccine. No, I'm not giving your child all this vaccine. You're giving your child all this vaccine. The only problem is I am licensed to give it, not you. So, no, I am not the culprit here. You are. Just so you know. So this is the speech I usually give parents. Every visit is important, from the newborn visit all the way up. We will see a lot of each other from newborn all the way up to 3 years old. There's a lot of visit, and every last one of them is important. Some parents like to associate some of these with vaccine, and it's not just about getting vaccine. It is about also your child developmental. Okay, so just because you think your child is healthy and oh, I'm not good, I'm not doing vaccination, no, that's not fair to that child. You know, bring these kids to these vaccines, because there's nothing frustrating when it is time for this child to go to school and you find out that your child have issues, and now you are running around with a chicken, like a chicken with his head cut off, because now you're trying to get help for this child that would have been available if you started. Not to say you're not going to get it, but it's going to be more harder or a little bit more frustrating, because now you need it right there and then, and you could have been had these stuff set up had you been going through all the checkup and they caught these stuff when they was younger. So typically for the first when they do the newborn checkup, it's just making sure your child is okay, you know, everything is good. The next time we'll see them is going to be at their they're going to bring you back for the height and weight, which will be in 1 week, to make sure that they are gradually gaining the weight that they're supposed to be. Then we see them back in for the 1 month checkup. Again, the same thing, making sure that they're developing and gaining the weight that they're supposed to be. Then we see them for the 2 months checkup, and then at 2 months checkup is when we start vaccinating. And at our office, typically, like for the 2 months vaccine, they get 4 vaccine. They'll get 3 injection and 1 liquid oral by mouth. So they're going to get the Penticil, which is a combination of the DTaP, Hib, and polio, the pneumococcal 13, the Hep B, and the Rototec. The Rototec is the one that's by mouth, liquid by mouth. And just a little FYI, if you know your child is getting vaccine for the 2 months, don't feed them before they get, not, hear me out, I'm not saying not to feed them before you go to the doctor's office. Please do. Don't have that child hungry. But when you're going to be vaccinated, try not to feed that child before they get that Rototec, because if they're full, they're not going to take that Rototec. It's a fight right there. And you either they're going to vomit, or they're going to just be spitting it out. So, you know, be a little mindful of that. Because the doctor will tell you, go ahead, feed the child, and they forget that the child have to get the Rototec. Yeah, go figure. The next visit will be at 4 months, and yes, your child is going to get vaccinated at 4 months. And then at 4 months, if they already had the Hep B when it was at birth, they're not going to see that Hep B at 4 months. They're going to see 3 vaccinations, and that 3 vaccination will be the Penticil, which is the combination of the DTaP, Hib, and polio. They're going to see the pneumococcal 13 and the Rototec. And then next time we see this child will be in 2 months for the 6 months vaccine. And at the 6 months vaccine, again, all of the vaccine is the same. They're going to see is the Penticil, which is a combination of DTaP, Hib, and polio. They're going to see the Hep B, the pneumococcal 13, and the Rototec. And if it's the flu season, then they'll get the flu vaccine. And also, I like to give parents the head up that if you're doing the flu vaccine and it's the first time receiving the flu vaccine between the ages of 6 months to 9 years old, and it's the first time ever, the initial dose, they have to get 2 doses. And they'll get the first doses at the initial visit, which is at 6 months. The second dose is going to be a month afterward, and after that it'll be just once a year. But initially they always have to get 2 doses. You could say a booster, but you know, that's how it is. Then the next visit will be at 9 months. Now at 9 months, typically, if you're up to date, there are no vaccine. It's just basic developmental. That's where they do the ASQ, making sure that your child is doing the stuff that they're supposed to be doing. They've met their milestone at that point, and if all good and well, then the next time we're seeing you is at the 12 months check. And then at the 12 months well check, you get vaccinated, and at our office there's 3 vaccine, and that will be the Hep A, the first Hep A, the MMR, and the varicella. And we do those separate. We do not combine the measles, mumps, rubella, and the varicella. They're going to get the Hep A, the MMR, and the varicella. Then the next visit will be at 15 months. 15 months, at our office, they get 2 vaccines. Sometimes it may be 2, it may be 3, depending on the doctors. Some doctors might separate into the DTaP, the hib, and the pneumococcal, or they get the pentacell, which is a combination of the DTaP, hib, and polio, and the pneumococcal. Again, is preference. The next visit will be at 18 months. At 18 months, they get the MCHAT. The MCHAT checks, I think they say, for autism, and then they get an ASQ, developmental, and then the only vaccine, if they are up to date, will be the Hep A, which is 6 months from the first one that they got it from. Get it? So then we don't see this child again until they are 2 years old, 24 months. And if all is well, they're up to date. They have kept up with all they well check and visit. All they're doing is, I think, is the MCHAT and just the ASQ, developmental, making sure everything is on point, you know. And so after the 24 months, we see them at 30 months. After 30 months, we see them at 36 months. And again, after that is yearly. And the next set of vaccines, school vaccine, I like to say, because unless you're doing the flu vaccine every year, so every flu season you'll see the flu, but the next set of vaccine that they will get will be at 4 years old, and at 4 years old they'll be getting, at our office, if they don't have no type of health issues or something, then we do 2 vaccines, which will be the Kinrex, which is the combination of the polio and the DTaP. And then they will get the ProQuad, which is the combination of the measles, mumps, rubella with the varicella. And then they're good until, and this is doctor's preference, some doctors start the HPV at 9 years old, some doctors start the HPV at 11 years old. Again, it's doctor's preference, and if the parents want to push it, they could push it. And you know, they could request it, and that will be a discussion between them and the doctors if they want to start the HPV. What we find out is the earlier they get the HPV, the less dose that they need. So if they get the HPV between the ages of 9 years old and 14 years old, they get 2 doses. They'll get the first dose at the doctor's visit, and then the initiate doctor's visit, and then the second dose will be 6 months from the first dose, and then they'll be done. If they got the dose after they were 14 years old, then they have to get 3 doses of the HPV, because they said the younger they are, they notice that they get immune quicker, whereas older is slower, so they have to get the 3 doses. So I always like to give parents that, try to get it early so they don't have to be getting the 3 doses if you do it. And some parents feel like it's just for females. No, it's for female and male. So, don't get that twisted, because some parents are like, well, they know what to do or whatever. Listen, during this quarantine season, which you would think that people, I've seen like a high case of kids coming in to get treated for chlamydia and stuff like that. So no. Not only are they out there having sex during this time, but they're being unprotected. So parents, if you could even protect them from certain stuff, I recommend that you get the vaccine. I'm sorry. I don't want nobody coming, because it's your choice. At the end of the day, if you choose to vaccine your child, it's up to you. If you don't want to vaccine your child, it's up to you. But I always tell parents to please think of the child and not yourself. If it's your personal preference. But sometimes, like, some parents will be gung-ho and they don't want to do it because, or they don't want to see their child cry or anything like that, and then they wait when this child is 4 years old and ready to go to school to bring this child in to get these vaccines. What? Are you crazy? These kids get superhuman strength. Now all of a sudden they see this needle coming to them, and they're not having it, and then you don't want to even hold them, and then you're looking at us as weird. And now, where they would have ended up probably getting 4 vaccines, they're going to end up getting like 5 or 6 vaccines, because now we have to play catch up. So I always try to tell parents, I don't know what your kids did to you. These kids will fall, get cuts, bump their head. They're going to get worse thing than getting vaccinated. So to wait until they're ready to go to school, that don't make no sense to me. Don't do that. That's just, to me, cruel and unusual. Don't do that. Let them do it when they're young and they don't remember. I don't remember when I had my vaccine when I was young. They're going to cry for a little bit and then it's done. The typical um, side effects: pain at the site and fever. And with that also we found out that Tylenol. So usually, typical, we say Tylenol for the kids between 2 months to 6 months, because the ibuprofen is a little bit kind of too harsh for the liver. So we usually don't do Tylenol between those age, and then ibuprofen is good, after 6 months. But we always caution the use, because a lot of parents want to run out and give them Tylenol right away, and sometimes they don't need it. A lot of kids will cry and they're done. Sometimes, but if they're running a fever trump everything, so definitely give it. But sometimes if they don't need it, don't give it, because Tylenol is known to mess with the effectiveness of the vaccine. So you don't want to want to vaccinate these kids because their immunization is low, because you went out to give Tylenol to stop the pain when the pain would stop on its own. So just be a little mindful of that. So that's my little speech. I'm sorry, but I feel. Oh, one more thing while I'm on that with the vaccine. Parents, if you're moving from a different state, a different country, and your child is school age, even if it's you, please, please, please walk with the vaccine. OMG. A lot of parents will leave and come, and again, it is so hard. It's not easy, because sometimes you fill out that release form, and I can't tell you how much when we're putting in the because we when you bring that form with us, we put it in our system to update our system. So when we print out the vaccine, your sheet will be up to date. It'll have the previous one from whichever place you got it, and then the ones that we give you if the child needs it. But what happened is, a lot of time parents leave, they don't bring this stuff, and they're like, oh well, I signed the release, we send the release, and sometimes we don't get it. And especially if you I don't know, for some reason, if you get it from the military, it's so hard to get it. I don't know why. Like, is it Fort Knox? Like, you send the release and you barely could get it. Why? So parents, please, like when I moved from St. Croix and I was going to New York and I had my son, I was typically thinking, because Lord knows when you ask for stuff, it takes so long for them to get it. So before I left, I make sure, because I ain't gonna lie, I am not going to lie, I always hide stuff from myself and I can't find it later, so I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm perfect. No, I am not. I am far from it. But when I knew I was moving from St. Croix and I was going to New York, and it was me and my son, I went to the Department of Health and I got me a copy of his shot record, his and my shot record, so I could travel with it. So that when I went to my doctor's office, I had my shot record. When he went to his doctor's office, he had his shot record. And they were able to update me, because there was shots that we don't give on the island that I needed for here, which is not a lot, because I think it was like the Hep B was the only shot that I need. But other than that, everything was good, But it's just something that, we should always be mindful of, is, walk with the vaccine. Whether it's you're moving from an old clinic and going to a new clinic, if you're moving from a different state, if you're moving to a different country, walk with that. That is important. Just like your passport, your ID, your vaccine, that's important. We need that. Well, sunshine, I'm done. Thank you for listening. And we will see each other again. Bye, sunshine.